A gentleman that, as we've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, I think has been so right on so many topics, time and time again over the last couple of years. It's really been one called shot after the next. Roger Stone. Roger, how did you get so wise? Because you look like you're in your late 30s, early 40s. How did you get so much wisdom?
Well, I don't know how wise I am. I know I feel after writing all night like I need a triple espresso to be wise enough for the show.
Tell us what you've seen these polls. We got them this morning. The battleground state, dead heat in Florida, dead heat in Pennsylvania, and Trump's up by 4. Does that start to kill this whole meme that's going out there that Trump can't beat her? It looks like the numbers and even the national polls, the dead heat to slightly up, and I think we may be at peak Hillary. What say you?
Very typical of the mainstream media misunderstanding that polling is always mercurial and temporary. So, everybody, of course, was crawling about a number of surveys that showed Trump behind Hillary last week, making the blanket statement, well, you see, that's it, he can't win. His focus has been on the Republican primary, but more importantly, Sanders has never hit Hillary where she's most vulnerable. He has, probably because he didn't think it would work within the rubric of the left-wing dominated Democratic Party. And consequently, I think that her favorable-unfavorable ratio, once one of the worst ratios in the country, will return to the same polarization once she takes a couple hits.
You came out with a book that really accused them of crony capitalism, of corruption, of basically extortion, I think of almost criminal activity. And you've also gone after Bill Clinton personally as a predator. Trump's clearly picked that up, something that other Republican establishment figures have never done. You guys have taken it, I think, on your lead in the book, and then Trump has kind of picked this up as he normally does, is going to places the Clintons never thought anybody would go, and the mainstream media is actually starting to at least report that it's out there. And by the way, did the Clintons ever get a lawyer to come and sue you to tell you that you had to, your publisher had to pull the copies of that book and rip up the pages or redact certain things? Have they ever come back and questioned or vilified you for any of the facts in your book?
I've never heard from them, nor do I expect to, because, of course, a lawsuit would be a forum for us to demonstrate that everything in the book is accurate. And they know that. And truth is, of course, the ultimate defense. I mean, they were very, very adept in the 1980s at suppressing people and suppressing incidents that would have been of interest to the American people. But this was a pre-internet age. Today, information cannot be suppressed. Now, they're trying very hard. I'm banned on CNN. I'm banned on MSNBC.
Why are you banned? By the way, why are you banned on those two networks?
Because I'm blurting out the embarrassing truth about Bill and Hillary Clinton. This is not about marital infidelity or adultery or girlfriends or mistresses. It's about something much, much darker: sexual assault and rape. And Bill Clinton is a sexual predator, but more germane, Hillary Clinton is an accessory after the fact in each one of those sex crimes, because she is the one who bullies and intimidates and threatens Bill's victims, as Donald Trump says, in some cases, ruining their lives to keep them silent.
When you hear people now, and I realize, look, you're obviously a Trump supporter and have worked with him or alongside him for many, many decades, and your partner Manafort now is really, if not the campaign manager in name, is making so many of the key decisions there. So obviously you may have a bias, but when you hear the Cruz people, what would you say to them in comparing when you say, hey, look, Trump and Hillary Clinton are exactly the same. They're both big government liberal Democrats. What would you do in trying to say, hey, let me compare and contrast Hillary Clinton? What should those folks be thinking about what the real Clintons are like, not what they see up there painted by the mainstream media?
Well, sadly, I don't think the Clintons are progressives or liberals. I think it's far more dangerous than this. I think these people are amoral thieves. I mean, they would steal a hot stove. They really will do anything for money. And I think that will, in many key ways, be their downfall. So I think to beat them, nothing can be off the table. I find it disturbing that Chris Christie, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush all said during the campaign, Bill's sexual history is irrelevant. Well, it is and it isn't. It's relevant because it regards how Hillary acted at the time And that's what demonstrates that
I want to be very specific because I talked to you. This is over a year ago. You made something, and honestly, I'd never really thought about it. You said, hey, look, I am not going to focus in my book or when I start talking about the campaign. This would be Roger Stone said, Steve, I'm not going to talk about the girlfriends. I'm not going to talk about the mistresses. I'm not going to talk about the affairs. And I'm not even going to talk about certain of the interns because that's a judgment he had to make as a husband, a father, and a man. Right. And you said those could add up into the thousands. Right. You said I'm only going to focus on where he's really had criminal sexual predator behavior. Is that not true of what you focused on?
Yeah, I really have no interest in his consensual sex. Now, I realize that many people will find it distasteful, but look, Dwight Eisenhower was getting a little on the side. That's not the point here. But you cross a line when you get into the areas of sexual assault or exposing himself to women, as he did with Paula Jones, who he paid an $850,000 out-of-court settlement to, for example. And this is a narrative that they really are trying very hard to suppress. If you raise this question on CNN, as Steve Malzberg, my pal at Newsmax, has done, or Kurt Schlichter, or I have, they literally pull your microphone. They unplug your microphone to stop you from going there. Yesterday we read, this is absolutely incredible, David Brock is now rolling out a new political action committee to go after people who say unpleasant things about Hillary on the internet, in social media. They're going to be policing social media with a thought Gestapo. You are accused of thinking bad things about Hillary. Amazing.
Let me go before I let you go. There's some confusion about is Trump picked Steven Mnuchin, who's Alan Mnuchin's son. They're legendary traders at Goldman Sachs, one of the first families of Wall Street, real Wall Street royalty. Stephen to be his national finance chair. You don't, and he explained the other day he's going to work with the RNC in conjunction to help raise money. But you don't bring on Steven Mnuchin to go to the Tea Party Patriots and raise $10 donations. I mean, Mnuchin's a guy that calls up and give a big donation. There's all these super PACs. This kind of confusion is Trump self-funding his campaign, which he said, hey, I'm going to put a ton of cash in here and I'm really self-funding this other stuff for the RNC. And then all these PACs that are popping up all over the place. Can you give people any clarity about exactly what's going on to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, I think that it is very clear that the combined Trump Republican operation is going to have to raise about $1 billion in very short order. And because of the unique nature of Trump's candidacy, he doesn't have a well-oiled finance operation ready to jump on the task. So he's playing catch-up ball. But what's amazing, I'm told, is the number of new donors, people who've never given before. See, instead of the press focusing on the 2 or 3% of the party donors who are never Trump, that whole thing may be 10 people, I'm not sure, they don't focus on the whole influx both of new voters and new donors who Trump's bringing to the party. So can they make it? Yes. Is it going to take a lot of time? Indeed. This Great American PAC, which purports to be a pro-Trump organization, I've got problems with their finances. Jesse Benton, who ran Ron Paul's campaign, a convicted felon last week in Iowa for bribery of a public official, I believe it was. Ed Rollins, with very close ties to Teneo, the Clinton, influenced lobbying firm where he works by day. But most troubling is their finances. They said they spent $1 million to help Donald Trump in Wisconsin. More careful study determines that of that $1 million, they spent $100,000 on actual digital media, and the other $100,000 appears to be fees.
Roger, how can people get more access? I know you publish frequently on Daily Caller and frequently on Breitbart. How can people get more access to your writings and to your thinking?
Well, I have a piece for Breitbart today, of course, on what Trump has to do and in terms of picking up 1 million new voters. I mean, I think you've got 700,000, a shift of 700,000 votes in 5 states would have won us the last election. This is the last time in my memory the Republicans actually have new people showing up at the table, and they have to take that opportunity to change the party. Every Republican president has remade, successful president, has remade the Republican Party in their image. Lincoln did, Theodore Roosevelt did, Eisenhower even did, Nixon, and of course Reagan. Trump is going to make us a less country club, more mainstream, Main Street, I should say, party. The party will become more like it was in the 80s under Reagan than it was in the 90s under the Bushes.
Roger Stone, former strategist for Donald Trump, now independent writer, thinker, and a strategist, has his own PAC. Roger, thank you very much for joining us here on Breitbart News Daily. Appreciate it, sir.
Steve, always great to be here. Did you ever think we would be at this moment in time?
Pretty interesting time. The Chinese curse. We're living in interesting times there, Mr. Stone.
It's exciting. Let's make America great again.
Roger Stone, former strategist for Donald Trump.